This person goes, it's a silent depression because people know that the moment you confide in someone, you get two things. Number one, judgment. That's fun. Number two, lectures. Awesome. Buckle up, boys. We're going to do all of the above on that one. Okay? So if you're new here, welcome. Okay? I apologize about my haircut. I didn't ask for this. Actually, I did. But it's cool. We're going to have some fun today. Let's get deep, but let's have some fun. Okay? I know not everybody's broke, but let's really get down to brass tacks here, okay? It's going to be a good time.
American dream is over. We're currently in a silent depression, deeper than the 1930s, and it's only going to get much worse in 2024 and 2025. Just look at these numbers. In the early 1930s, the average income was a mere $400. Today, it's $57,000.
$400 a year. Ballin'. It's kind of funny if you just think about it.
But back then, you could get a new car for $600 and a cozy home just $6,000. Adjusting for inflation, these should cost $11,000 and $110,000 today. But what do we see?
That's way off. That's awesome.
A basic new car is almost $49,000, and homes are far beyond reach for many. Besides, college fees have surged 300% since 1988, but degrees aren't as valuable.
Americans are...
Who would have thought going to college was a terrible idea? It's hilarious. I'm so glad I didn't go to college. That's awesome. Oh, this is great. Okay. So I know not everybody's broke, but let's break this down because, I'm doing okay, but in the grand scheme of things, not that great. Anyways, this Mexican guy kind of goes off on us Americans, and he's got a good point.
Americans are so broke and they don't even realize it. I always get Americans tell me, oh, but people in Mexico only make $20 a day. You can get a full meal here for $2. The metro in Mexico City costs 5 pesos, which is like 25 cents. I can go to the market right now and buy 3 kilos of mangoes for like $2. Yeah, people make...
I love how even just buying fruit sounds like a drug deal. 3 kilos of mangoes.
Make less money here, but the cost of living is also lower. Americans think that everywhere is like the US. Now, check this out. Let's say you live in the US and you make $3,500 a month after taxes. I'm being generous. Rent, $2,000. Car payment, $500. Car insurance, $200. Health insurance, $200. Phone bill, $100. Wi-Fi bill, $50. Light bill, $150. Water bill, $100. What's the point of making more money if you don't get to keep any of it? Who cares if you make $4,000 a month if you don't get to keep any of it? 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and that includes half of six-figure earners. 80%.
Not cool. So far, he's roasting us pretty good. I'm going to need an elote for this one. I do love elotes.
Some of you guys are in debt and don't own anything, and half of you guys don't even have $500 in your savings account. But let's call other countries poor, and let's call other people poor. Living paycheck to paycheck your whole life and being in debt your whole life should be considered poverty, but it's not. And I know this is going to hurt a lot of Americans, but it's the truth.
Oh, he went in. You know what? Let's add to that. How about this? Let's really get deep here. This is going to be fun. This one goes, don't forget, 12% of the U.S. population is on food stamps. Anybody in here? Yeah, classic. And here's the funniest part. Get ready for this. Of that 12% that's on government assistance, hold on. A lot of this country has added to that. Yeah, they've come over here, come on food stamps, to come over here, make money, send it back to their country. I know. And then on top of that, Americans are trying to figure out how to move to other countries, but still make American money. It's perfect. It makes all the sense in the world. I just had to point that out. That's just classic. I'm gonna do a whole video on this food stamps, like government, like playing the public assistance game in real life. We'll do a whole one on that because that one really kind of drives me nuts. I'm not saying people don't need it. It's just you got to think about it. 42 million people. If you're not one of those 42 million, you're helping pay for them. I know. We're not going to go too deep on that, but this is, I've actually dated a person like this. You can't see it, but in this video, the title of the video said, I'm waiting for my EBT. Here's how I survive when I'm broke and unemployed. Watch this shit. This is beautiful. This is going to ruin your entire day in a good way.
I eat in a day as someone who's unemployed and broke. I woke up super late at like 4, so then I just ate like half a bag of cherries. Then I had to start getting ready to go to the club. We got the comp promoter dinner. On some broke bitch shit, I love going to the club for the comp dinners. I had a few pieces of sushi and
Yeah. She really needs the EBT to go to the club at night. Oh, I'm going to do a whole fucking video on that. I dated somebody like this. Shame on me. I know. And they were exactly like that person. It's awesome. They sure do need that EBT money. That's awesome. If you're new here, I'd like to read some of your comments throughout the video. Keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fun. This person goes, I have a 29-year-old daughter that moved out at 19, was self-sufficient until about 2 years ago. She was struggling badly. I asked her to move back in because it was affecting her mental health so badly. She is still with me and has improved vastly. Financial struggle will eat you alive. It's no joke. I agree with that. That's like one of the things that cripples most people is just like, that's the worst one. Why does everybody have anxiety? I don't know. Because we can't afford anything and we're like, how am I ever going to survive? This one goes, I absolutely see that it is rough out there for Gen Z and Millennials and soon to be Gen Alpha. I wish I had solutions. Yeah. I put this in here because I can't believe how many people on EBT and this kind of stuff that don't need it. They absolutely don't need it at all. I mean, there's plenty of people out here that don't even have the option to live with their family or move back in. You know, I love how shit's backwards. Like, that chick wakes up at 4 p.m., goes to the club, gets EBT. But you, who bust their ass 65 hours a week, doing everything you can, you don't get that. Wouldn't that make sense? It's like, oh, you worked really hard. You worked really hard this whole year, 70 hours a week. Here's some free food. Nope, it's all backwards. But I just put that in there because it's something you don't think about. How many people that can easily not be on government assistance, but they do it anyways. It's awesome. It's like a flex nowadays. It's perfect. All right, I'm going to let the EBT stuff go. I'm going to do a whole video on that because that shit really pisses me off, man. Anyways, let's keep this thing moving. And this person says it too. They go, then we as American Canadians and British people move to other countries and make their cost of living increase, and the locals can no longer afford to live in their own country. It's awesome. Yeah, it's happening here too. It's happening everywhere. It's a big old nut bust. Big party.
If you're in your 20s and you keep consistently seeing people and you like, oh my God, how are they doing all this? How are they affording all of this? Blah, blah, blah. And you're really confused and you're trying to figure it out. Is really one of two, maybe even three options. The first option is credit card debt. Maybe they swiping them cars. They swiping that card. They probably have $30,000 right now in credit card debt. But they're in Bora Bora. Absolutely. The second.
They're in Bora Bora with your money. That's awesome. Don't forget the EBT. Hey, just for fun, shits and gigs, just leave your credit card debt down below. Yeah, I'm only $1,100. I usually just pay it off every month or two, but I'm doing okay. But I was at $5,000 at one point. Not cool.
Second is rich parents. Don't ever underestimate the power of a rich parent. The third is they might be scamming. They might, small might. And then the fourth, absolute and final, is that they're really just getting to the money. But that's very low on the total poll. It's probably credit card debt.
How much America?
She had an excellent point. I have a joke with one of my best friends where like something he would be doing the most shit. And I would go to him. I'd be like, dude, how are you affording this? And he'd go, I'm not. And I feel like that's how most people are. Like things can really look, when you're looking out, it's like, oh, wow, how's everybody doing this? You don't have to be in your 20s to be wondering that. I'm in my 30s, and I'm wondering that. I mean, how are these people doing this? But the parents, that's something you don't really think about. You know, I know not everybody has that, but you'd be shocked how many people are getting help from their parents. And I'm not judging you. You do your thing. I get it, okay? Like I said, the chick I dated a chick. Not only did her mom pay for her car insurance, and her car note. Oh, no. She was on EBT. Yeah. You were paying for her too, without even knowing it. And then, of course, I was too, because I was Big Daddy balling. You know how it is. What do you need, baby? I'll buy it. Idiot. Anyways, upward and onward. This guy's got a huge thing. This is something where it's like, I know not everyone's broke. I get it. But this is like retirement plan. I know. What a joke. Anyways, this dude, Jeremiah Babe's pretty cool.
Americans in their 40s have in their 401ks. This on CNBC today. I thought this was pretty interesting. We go back to people in their 30s, and this is the median number. People in their 30s, the median amount that they have in their 401ks is $20,400. People in their 40s have $38,600, and people in their 50s have $60,900 on average in their 401ks. This is the median average. This is, to me, a complete false sense of security when people talk about their 401ks. People believe that they're going to ride off into the sunset, that they're going to retire, and that they're going to, they're going to have their 401k, and they're going to ride off into the sunset, and they're done. How in the world does anybody believe that they're going to retire when, if you're in your 40s, you have $38,000?
Honestly, it's kind of crazy because I'm pretty spot on with that. I don't even have a 401k. I'm in my mid-30s, and I got about 20 grand in a Roth IRA. I have more money than that in other places. But think about that, though. Think about how many people don't even have that. It's kind of fucked up. And I'm just kind of sitting here like, I kind of did this by accident. I just kind of like making money and being able to survive and afford shit. But now I'm like purposely saving. But this is something too that I brought up. Like, if you don't even have 10 grand and you're in your 30s, you don't even have 10 grand. Like, that's where it's at right now. This person goes, the average American does not have $400 for an emergency. That's a far cry from 10 grand. I know. And then think about this. This person probably doesn't even have a 401k, which I don't even think 401ks are that great. Honestly, it's kind of a ripoff. It's all kind of fucked. But it's just one of those things to think about. And this guy goes, my bank account doesn't even have 10K. I'm totally cooked at 34 years old. You're not totally cooked, but it's not looking too good. I'm just kidding. You could bounce back. But I think that's something we all can just work on a little harder, is just learning how to save that bread. That's really it. I think that's something we have a hard time doing. But once you save 10K, it gets a lot easier. It's like you crack a cheat code or something. You're like, I figured it out. It turns into like a game. Anyways, let's keep this moving. I just thought that was kind of nuts, those statistics there.
Have you noticed that all of the trends for this year are really just ways to make spending less money cool? What do natural hair and nails, clean girl jewelry, ditching lash extensions, and thrifting all have in common? They're representations of people not having extra money to spend on non-essentials. Media loves to say that the consumer is strong, but the reality is that consumer spending has shifted away from these non-essentials and moved to just trying to keep up with the rising cost of basic needs.
You know what's crazy? Speaking about shitty haircuts, I'm just kidding. The chick who did my hair, she did a great job. I asked for this. Usually I like my hair longer. The point about that is, Jesus Christ, is that I haven't had a haircut in like 5 years. I usually just cut it myself. And I paid $45 for a haircut. I know. Plus I tipped like an asshole. So I spent a lot. Yeah, I know. But that's just something that just a haircut alone. I don't know why I was just thinking about that. I know this chick's talking about a lot more women-centered stuff, but this is actually pretty important shit that she's talking about here.
Top of that, Americans are carrying a record amount of debt with over $1 trillion of credit card debt alone. It's also amazing. But what I don't want to get lost in the shuffle is that these trends aren't just fun trends. They're a representation of hardships that Americans are facing. Let's just not lose sight of the real problem, which is that the economy is not as strong as they say, and more than likely this is going to get worse before it gets better.
Husband work.
Okay. Now, guys, look, this is just stuff I think about on a daily basis. I like to enjoy my life. I like to go to the skate park. I like to hang out with friends. I like to laugh a lot. I like to do shit. I like to have fun. I don't just sit around stressing about the economy all the time. But I do think about, now that I'm older, I do think about like retiring, being prepared. See this girl right here? Prepare for a recession. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Like, I'm just prepping. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to stack as much money as fucking possible. And if shit hits the fan, hopefully I can survive longer than most people. That's my game plan. I mean, just think about what happened with with the whole COVID thing. Yeah, right. You saw how fast that happened. Well, I ain't gonna let that shit happen to me again. Get caught with my pants down, my dick hanging out in the breeze, going with people laughing at me and shit. I don't think so. Anyways, let's keep this party moving.
In the banking industry. And last night he had this meeting with all the local bankers, and this man got up on stage and gave a speech about an oncoming recession. And I feel like since the shutdowns years ago, we've been saying like, we're living in a recession. And it's scary because we aren't yet. It's just that hard right now. But what's coming is a Great Depression, because things are raising in price, but our pay is not, and there's no fix to that. They can't pay us more. They cannot afford to pay us more. Life is expensive. Like, just functioning, like waking up and functioning is expensive. I think this recession.
There was one point in my life where I did that classic thing where you make more money and then your bills just go way up. You're like, I can afford all that. I'm rich. You know, I make $6,000 a month. I know, right? But I did that before, and I remember waking up one day and I was like, wow, it cost me $3,200 a month just to wake up. Spectacular. It's tremendous. I know. Don't worry, I fixed all of that. Much lower now. Anyways, something to think about.
Will look like not being able to keep up with what your life looked like when you were already kind of nickel and diming things. So just cut back where you can and save where you can, even if that looks like $10 a week. Do what you can, because this recession, this depression is going to be pretty scary. And yeah, I need to get chickens and a garden stat.
I'm with her on the chickens and a garden shit. That would actually be kind of fun. Just a bunch of chickens, like name them Roscoe, you know, just like naming them, petting them and stuff. I'll bring them to bed at night, you know, and in the kitchen in the morning to eat them. But anyways, I just put that in there because, like, what happens if shit really does, like, go completely bananas? Just, you know, like, I don't think we could all be on government assistance, you know. Anyways, cheers to that. That's fun. All right. This person goes, I used to be pretty impulsive with spending. I've watched a lot of financial YouTube channels and podcasts. Completely changed my mindset. I've almost saved $10,000 from $500 through not eating out, not buying stupid BS, and wearing out the clothes I have. Yeah, like, this is something that I feel like a lot of us have a hard time doing, just stacking that paper. I mean, I'm pretty good at it. Now I'm learning how to invest it, which I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but I'm trying. But it is possible to be done. Like, I don't want to make it seem like it's impossible. Like, if you're 35 and you have, you know, $1,000 to your name, you're fucked. You're definitely not looking too good. But it is possible to bounce back. Anyways.
2 billionaires think the economy is going to crash in 2024.
Oh, this is awesome.
They're betting billions of dollars on this. The first one is one of the richest men in the world, Ray Dalio. And what he said recently has investors freaking out. Yes, we're near an inflection point. And this graph is a good example of the problem. This is the national debt, and he said U.S. is now borrowing money to pay down its debt service. And
borrowing money to pay down debt. That's awesome. I just thought it was funny that, like, I know what he meant. Like, the billionaires are betting that there's going to be a crash. Like, they're not literally like, hey, John, I'll bet you $27 million that the market crashes in October. He goes, well, I don't think it'll crash till December. You know, double that up. You know, I know it's not like that, but that would be funny, though. Could you imagine? Instead of, like, sports betting, there's just billionaires out there just betting on us, just eating shit. That's awesome. God, this is making my whole week.
Hey, so if our economy, like, completely craps out, we're gonna find the people responsible, right? Like, we're going to hold them accountable in French ways. You know what I mean? Like Jerome, if our economy completely tanks and we end up in like a Great Depression, we need to go and get them.
And the truth is we're probably going to do nothing about it. That's awesome. But there is something we can do a little bit. This is kind of what I'm doing. And I'm not like some doomsday prepper or any of that. Like, I do have a bunch of canned food, but I'm not like, I don't like think the world's just going to end and like everything's going to go to like apocalyptic proportion. You know what I mean? Or at least I hope it doesn't. And if it does, fuck it. I'm playing ball. I'm jumping in. Who cares at that point? But I think the best thing we can do right now, because I don't think shit's going to crash in 2024. Not with no election going down. Nah. So we got time. But I think all of this year, I think this is what we have to do, is stack as much paper as fucking possible. Like, legit. This guy's smart. He goes, I'm an engineer. I made over $200,000 last year. I drive a 2009 truck. At the same time, I have friends living paycheck to paycheck, don't have $1,000 in their checking, and yet paying $600 a month for a car payment. I'd love to upgrade my car, but the car prices are laughable. Classic. So this dude right here, this is kind of what we need to be on. Okay? We all need to be making $226,000 a year. Okay? You got 3 months to figure that out, or you are done. I'm just kidding. But I'm serious, though. We need to make a lot of money and live below our means and stack the fuck up. You don't want to be this guy. Paycheck to paycheck, $600 car payment a month. That's the last person you want to be. For real, though. I'm just saying, because if shit does hit the fan, even if you had just 20 grand saved and your bills are low, you're way ahead of the curve. This person goes, it's not about how much you make, it's how you spend the money. Well, actually, unfortunately, it kind of is about how much money you make. I know a man with no bills is a rich man and everything, even though that kind of doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, nowadays, it's kind of like you need to make a shit ton of money and you need to not spend a lot of money at the same time. So it's kind of fucked. They're not wrong. You're not wrong. Someone once said the number one way to be poor is have a car payment. It's classic. This person goes, even if you could save $20 a week, that's $1,000 a year. Got to start somewhere. Anyways, that's kind of like, I'm trying to figure this shit out with you guys. I really am. And I'm grateful that I have YouTube and all that, but I'm not naive enough to think that this shit could take a dump. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care how safe you think your job is. If you're in a position where you are literally, you don't got 10 grand saved up, yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, if you're like 20 years old, forget it. But if you're 30 and up and you're not stacking up, yo, I don't think there's much time. Honestly, you got like this year, for real, maybe like a year. Anyways, that was a lot of fun. You guys leave your thoughts. Shout out to all my Patreon members. I apologize to everybody for this terrible haircut of mine. It's really just ruined my entire week. And I'm just glad that this is my big dilemma in my life at the moment, is my hair. But you guys leave your thoughts, okay? Hell of a talk. I don't mean to come on here and freak people out, but I do think it's important. I think about this shit all the time. And it's a lot easier for me to talk about this stuff on the internet than it is in real life with people, because a lot of people get super offended. And plus, it's just odd. You just don't just walk around town just talking about this, just out of nowhere. Like, hey, how much are you prepared for everything to take a crap? That's just not how I operate. You don't bring that stuff up. I don't walk around town just talking like this. Anyways, hell of a talk. You guys leave your thoughts. Good shit.